experience of 8+ years. Today we will see what is delegate and what's the real-time use of delegate. A very common definition of delegate is a type-safe function pointer. What is type-safe function pointer we will see in few seconds by an example. Delegate is a type-safe function pointer which invoke or which execute a function whose signature match with delegate. Here signature means return type and parameters of delegate must be matched with return type and parameters of function which delegate will invoke or which delegate will execute. Syntax of delegate is access modifier, delegate, return type, delegate name and parameter list. So to understand this definition of delegate, we will see an example. So first create a delegate. So public delegate, return type int, and the name of delegate I will give my delegate. I will give two integer type as a parameter so that we can perform some calculation. So int a comma int b. Now our delegate is ready. This delegate will execute those functions whose signature match with this delegate. So first I will create a function so that this delegate can execute. So I will create a class, public class, name of class I will give calculator, and mark it as static so that we can call this method just by using this class name instead of creating an instance of this class. Okay, now create a method of integer type and the name of method is multiply, and we will multiply two numbers, int a comma int b. It will return multiplication of two numbers, so return a multiplication b. Now our method is ready, our delegate is also ready. So we will first see the signature of this delegate, signature of this method is matching with signature of this delegate or not. So what is that signature? What's the signature include? Return type and parameters. So here return type of delegate is integer. Here also return type of method is integer. Here the parameter of type 2 integer type. Here also parameters of 2 integer type. It means that the signature of this method is matching with the signature of this delegate. It means this delegate can execute these methods. So how to execute? To execute this method, we will create an instance of this delegate. My delegate del is equal to new my delegate. Now this my delegate will expect a function name which we want to execute. So what's our function name? Multiply. You can see here it is expecting two integer type, int a and b. So what's our method name? Multiply. So how you will call? Calculator dot multiply. Okay, now to execute this method, to execute this, I will give it as now to execute this multiply method we will use invoke, del dot invoke. It will expect two integer type, means it will expect parameters values. Here parameters are two integer type, so I will give 10 comma 20, and we know that this method will return integer type, so I will store inside a integer variable int result is equal to del. Now we will print the result on console screen. So the result, when I will run this program, it will give 10 into 20 200. That's fine. It will give 200, and which is fine. So according to our definition we have completed, but this is not the full definition of delegate. It is not going to fulfill all criteria. So what's the real-time definition of delegate? The real-time definition of delegate is especially used for the callback function. that is used in cases like to report information back after the completion of operation. It means that suppose if this method will take 10 seconds to complete, or 5 seconds to complete, or 2 seconds to complete, so what will happen in that case? In that case, our method will not be responsive, and we cannot execute any other operation till the first one finish. So for example, it is taking few seconds, so we will use thread dot sleep. For example, it is taking 2 seconds. 2000 milliseconds means 2 seconds. Now it is taking 2 seconds to complete. Meanwhile, our application will not be responsive. So what should happen in this case? If it is taking 2 seconds, it should inform to this calling method that something is in process. It should inform this calling method. But for current scenario, del.invoke, it execute our methods in synchronous manner. But we will have to execute our method in asynchronous manner so that we can achieve the real definition of delegate. Means if it is taking 2 seconds, it should inform this calling method that something in progress, something in process. So instead of using invoke, we will use begin invoke. Int result is equal to del dot begin invoke. Now this begin invoke will expect 3 parameters. The first one is method types, method parameters, and second one is async callback, and third one is object type. You can see here. First one is method types, method parameter types, second one is async callback, and third one is object type. Now we will pass the first parameter of method types 10 comma int b value 20, and async callback we are passing null for now, also this one is now, but still it is giving error. So why it is giving error while we have passing all the 3 parameters value? Because okay, before that we will be wondering that from where this begin invoke is coming, or end invoke is coming. So when we define a delegate, a custom delegate class is generated and added to assembly. What is assembly? Assembly means assembly are of 2 types. The first one is exe, executable files, and second one is DLL. So when we define a delegate, a custom delegate class is generated and added to assembly. This class includes many methods like invoke, we have seen, begin invoke, this one, and also end invoke we will see in few seconds. Invoke method execute method in synchronous manner, we have seen, while begin invoke execute method in asynchronous manner, we will see now. When we call begin invoke method is queue to start another thread. Okay, we have passed the 3 parameters of begin invoke, still it is giving error. So we have to see why this is giving error, because it does not to make an asynchronous call to underlying method we use begin invoke. Okay, it does not return value of the underlying method. It does not. This begin invoke will not return the return type of underlying method, means multiply. Here is our multiply and the return type is integer. So it will not, this begin invoke will not return the integer type. Instead it will return iAsync result object. So I will store inside iAsync result variable. iAsync result. I will give async. Now error will gone. Okay. So it will return an iAsync result object that we can use to determine when the asynchronous is complete. Now to collect the result, we submit the iAsync result object to the end invoke method. Okay, to the end invoke method. So inside end invoke method, we will submit the iAsync result object. So iAsync result object is async, this one. We have submit. Now it will return of integer type, because our method is having return type integer type, so it will return integer. Now we can see if I run this program, then what will happen? After 2 seconds it will give the result. After 2 seconds it will give the result. We can see that, see, after 2 seconds it will give 200, because this method is taking 2 seconds. So by the definition of delegate, if it is taking 2 seconds time, meanwhile it should inform this calling method that something in process. So how to achieve that? How to achieve that? We can achieve via 2 ways. There are 2 ways to achieve that. The first one is use of is completed property of the isync result. So we will use first approach, is completed property. Okay, is completed property. So while dot is completed property, okay, is completed, it means that it is saying something in progress. I can see I can write in progress. Okay, if it is not completed, means if it is not completed, then it is in process. Okay, if I will run this, you will see in process, in progress, in 2 seconds. It means that it is taking 2 seconds. So while this 2 seconds, it is informing to this calling method that in progress, something is in progress. We can write, for example, in progress is fine. Okay, so if I will run this program, if it is taking 2 seconds, meanwhile it is informing to the calling method that something in progress. Thereafter it is giving the result of 200. You can see 200. Okay, that's fine. So this is the first approach. But the better approach is supply an instance of the async callback delegate as a parameter to the begin invoke, this one. So to do this, first we will comment out our first approach. So what is saying? Supply an instance of the async callback delegate as a parameter to the begin invoke. So begin invoke parameter, the second parameter is expecting async callback, this one. So what is saying? Instance of the async callback. So how to create instance? New async callback. Okay, it will expect a method. So I will give a async result. Okay, so I will give it as method my callback. I will give it as my callback. Okay, now we will have to create this method my callback. Here I will create public static and then void my callback. Okay, so you can see async callback deleted parameter to the begin invoke. Okay, my callback. Now fine. Thereafter we can see it is giving error. No overload for my callback matches delegate async callback. No overload for my callback matches delegate async callback. We can see this is the error. So what we will pass? What we will do? We will provide a parameter of async result and name will be async. Now error is, you can see. Now you can see error has gone. Okay, so this is our my callback method. Here you can see, we have commented the del invoke line. We can see we did not invoke the end invoke. Why we have commented? Why we are not using this end invoke? Because my callback method, this my callback method does not have access to my delegate. This is our my delegate, and this my callback method does not have access to my delegate. Okay, so we make use. So how to access this? So we will use the incoming async result parameter, this one, incoming iasync result parameter, and then cast into async result. Okay, async parameter, and then cast into async result, then cast into async result. Not iasync, async result, and use the namespace for that. Okay, what are you saying? And then cast into iasync result type, and then cast into iasync result type. So we have casted in iasync result, async result type, and we will store inside async result. Async result AR is equal to this one. Okay, now it is saying, and use the static async delegate property. Static async delegate property means static async delegate property. So AR dot async delegate property. Okay, async delegate property, and then use the static async delegate property, which return a reference to the original async delegate property. Okay, which return a reference to the original asynchronous delegate. What is our original asynchronous delegate? That is my delegate. So I will cast my delegate. Okay, now store inside a my delegate variable, my delegate del is equal to my delegate. Okay, after that property which return reference to the original delegate. Now we will okay, now we will submit this into end invoke. So del dot end invoke, what it is expecting, it is expecting iasync result, which is this one, iasync result. So I will give async result, and it will return the integer type. So I will store inside int result is equal to this one, and I will print this result. Here we can print a message that something in process, as we have done earlier, in progress. So in process, when I will run this program, then it will show that in process, and after 2 seconds it will give the result. You can see in process, yeah, after 2 seconds 200. Okay, it means that this method is taking 2 seconds to complete. Meanwhile, it is informing to this calling method that something in process, and after 2 seconds it is giving the result 200. So this is the real use of delegate, and we have seen I think multiple times when you visit any website, then you have seen that while submitting any page, there is a status bar you have seen on the browser, like in progress or in process. That is delegate. So if I will run again, then in process, and after 2 seconds 200. So while 2 seconds it is informing this my callback is informing to this calling method that something in process. So this is the real use of delegate. Hope you guys are you guys will like this. So in next upcoming tutorial, we will see types of delegate. Basically we have 3 types of delegate, that is action, then func, and then predicate, and also we will see their real-time use. Apart from this, subscribe this channel to get the latest upcoming tutorials. You can like, subscribe, and share, and you can ask any query related to delegate. at the below mail ID, that is fresher2code@gmail.com. And if you have any code that is giving some errors or exceptions, and if you are not able to proceed further, then you can send me that code on this mail, and I will give you the solution. I will reply on the same mail. So thank you for watching this.